Right then, this is a quick walk around video. This is for a really quite exceptional vehicle. This is a Honda Civic 2.2 EX diesel on an 07 plate, which has covered just 49,000 miles. It comes with an absolutely beautiful and comprehensive Honda service history. The car is in simply wonderful condition. Lights and lenses, all good, no cracks in those at all. Front of the car, hardly a stone chip with any note in there anywhere. Near side of the vehicle, absolutely smooth in the panel work, really lovely. Alloys look absolutely exceptional as well. Go around the back of the car. Sorry about that, just wait for a car to go by. Come around the back of the car again, it's just in simply amazing condition. Video, and unfortunately it's getting a little bit late in the day, but I've got to get it done. It doesn't really do justice in any way to it, 'cause it is like a car that's a couple of years old, not 13 years old. Hard to find a mark on it, it really is that clean. So I think that's got to be one of the very finest examples anywhere in the marketplace. Coming to the back of the car, massive boots, 60/40 fold on the rear seats. And so I apologise, it's getting a bit grainy because of the time of day. The carpeted areas look almost as new back here, simply amazing. Coming to the back now, wide opening rear doors. These seats flip up and fold down beautifully, and it's just been kept in simply sensational condition. Coming to the front, footwell area is lovely and clean. Passenger seat in the front there, again, just been kept simply beautifully. Finally, coming to the driver's door card, again, really clean. As with the footwell areas again, and driver's seat, it looks pretty much as new in all honesty. So inside the car now, and again, I do apologise, it's really getting quite dark now, but the dashboard looks absolutely as new. Sat nav working perfectly in the vehicle. Likewise, all the other aspects working absolutely fantastically well, but it's just hard to describe. The condition really is, and that is the view you get as a driver. It is just a wonderful dashboard design. Still to this day, nearly 15 years after design, and looks wonderful. No warning lights. The only warning light you can see there is for the low fuel. Obviously, fuel in the car, we'll soon get rid of that, but stunning, absolutely stunning. Finally, just to show you, owner's manual pack and lock and wheel nut keys, both here and present with the car. Right then, this is a road test video, and this is for a very special car indeed. This is for a Honda Civic 2.2 EX diesel. This car is registered NM07, if I've read that right, XPB, and the car's covered just 49,190 miles. The reason we do these videos, as I say in all of them, is basically so that anyone that's looking at this car or any of our cars online actually gets to see the very car advertised in operation. We feel it's really important, because we know, unfortunately to our cost, just how frustrating it can be to go and see a car which can look perfectly good in the photographs and the description, only to get there and find out it's got a fundamental issue which you would much rather known about before setting off. So that is why we do it. It's also done on these very quiet country roads close to our premises, and the reason for that is we hope it'll then be representative of what we're feeling, and we can report it back to you. So coming to the car, just incredibly lucky to find this car in every single way. To find one with such low mileage in this specification, in this condition, and also with the amazing Honda service history the car's got, is incredibly rare. I've got a huge soft spot for these cars. I think it's one of the great cars. I hope if I get chance, I'll do a longer video on the 8th generation Civic, of which this is one, and use this car as an example, because we get very few of them now. So to get one like this is a real thrill, and it genuinely is. But doing the videos I always do, starting with the engine first, push button start on this generation, engine starts immediately and settles to completely smooth, even idle. There are no warning lights on the dashboard aside from a low fuel light currently on the vehicle, which obviously more fuel will extinguish that. The engines are sensational. It's so smooth for a diesel. You know it's a diesel at low revs and first and second gear, obviously. Even Honda can't hide that. But for this age of vehicle, to have an engine so sweet in the way it pulls, so quick, you put your foot down and it flies along. It really is it's a genuinely quick car. But a wonderful, wonderful diesel engine. And on this generation, of course, there's no DPF filters on them at all. They're cam chain driven, so no cam belts to worry about on them either. And they're extraordinarily good on fuel. Engine feeds through into clutch and gearbox. Clutch in the car, absolutely perfect. Bite point's exactly where it's meant to be, and it's smooth and quiet and positive in actuation. Gearbox on the vehicle has to go down as one of Honda's best ever gearboxes. It all starts with when you hold the gear lever, it just feels brilliant in hand, but as soon as you move it, the actuation and the slickness of the gear change is simply extraordinary. It is a wonderful, wonderful gearbox to use for the enthusiast, but also for the person that just wants to drive the car and not get lost. I mean, literally in gear, there's hardly any movement in the gear lever. There's no slack in it at all. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and it feels absolutely as new to hold and actuate. Steering on the car, the flattery of the vehicle continues because the steering is sensational. It's really nicely weighted. It's a generation of electric power steering, a steering system that I personally don't like. I don't like electric power steering systems, generally speaking, but when a manufacturer puts the effort in that Honda did with this to make it feel good, you can soon get past that. Going through corners like this, hardly any movement on the steering wheel. It's so quick to change direction, so it's just brilliantly done. It's precise, it's accurate. You feel, I don't know, you just feel so connected to the car, but in a not necessarily through the steering wheel, but every movement is just so incredibly vivid and precise in the way it does it. And I can feel no wear in this at all. It tracks absolutely bullet straight. There's no vibrations at all at this speed or any speed up to the legal limit. It just feels, the whole car does, it just feels like brand new to drive. Suspension of the vehicle, what I'm looking for on road test is just any kind of nasty sort of clatterings or knocking noises coming from underneath the car, of which there's nothing at all, which you'd expect given the way the car's been maintained. But that's only half the story, because the chassis is amazing. You've got quick power steering, but if you had a sort of floppy, loose chassis, it would be awful. Where you don't, you get an incredible amount of body control. Its agility is kind of almost hot hatch style, and I'm deliberately going up this section of road at this point because one of the criticisms of this generation Civic was their hard, jittery ride. Well, there's some nasty bumps on this road. I'm going to get over them right now, and they are nasty, and you can feel them, but they're not harsh. It can get caught out. There's certain ridges which will catch it out the same as any car, but I have to say, there's modern cars with their very low profile tyres which look aesthetically pleasing, which are far harsher than this. It's actually, on most surfaces, a very comfortable car. And I would say actually that the diesels do ride slightly better than the petrol engines, probably because of the weight of the engine, obviously. It helps with that. Sorry, I nearly witnessed an accident, so I was just completely sidetracked. I'm just glad they didn't come into contact with each other. Oh, that engine is just amazing. So quiet when it revs. I'm going to give the brakes a bit of a shove. It's a good, solid brake pedal. What I'm looking for is I don't want to feel any kind of pulsing or vibrations coming back through the pedal, and there's nothing at all. It's all exactly as it should be, so they're all fine. So coming to the interior, first things first, silence. There's no squeaks, there's no rattles, nothing at all from inside the car. They are a brilliantly put together car. But you know, this car, as I said in the walk around video, this was designed 15 years ago, and it's got a dashboard design and an interior that I still find hard to better, because not only is it just so easy to use ergonomically, it's really sound, but it's just amazing to look at, and beauty is completely in the eye of the beholder. I get that. It is a complete Marmite car. You either get it or you don't. Now I do, and I love them. Others won't, and that's opinion, which is fantastic, but it's also a sign of really good design that it does polarize opinion. But what an interior in my eyes. You know, the EX is very nice. You can always tell because it has this with the big sat nav screen up there, all working perfectly, by the way. All the functions working exactly as they should. Climate control, air conditioning pumps out lovely cold air. We put it in a warm workshop to check that out, but all working exactly as it should. But it's the way the information is, all the sort of the controls, the climate control, you can do it there, but I tend to find it's easier to do it on the buttons here. It's just nicer to use. You've got a steering wheel that feels like new in hand. It's small in diameter, leather bound, feels absolutely great in terms of a tactile feel. And then in front, this amazing view as a driver, which looks even better at night. I mean, it looks great in the day, but at night it's amazing. But it works. It's not just a gimmick, because the upper deck gives you the information, like your sat nav, other information up on the small screen there. But in front of me here is a big, bold, easy to read speedo, which means I can look at the cars ahead, look at cyclists or pedestrians, but at all times my eyes are on the road. It's genius, absolute genius, and it's to Honda's eternal shame that on the latest generation they've gone back to conventional, a much more muddled affair. I've got one, I own one, and I much prefer this. Then down below, this beautiful centre console with this floating kind of hologram effect, where you've got the information display and this beautiful blue hue as a light. It's just stunning. It's absolutely stunning piece of design in every single way, and I'm absolutely certain in 20-30 years time people will be looking at this car as I am now, just amazed that this car was a normal family hatch, because this is kind of stuff out of sort of, you know, borderline sort of sci-fi at the time of production. I'm just going to wait here and let this lorry come back a second. Lose the argument with him, he's much bigger. Now we've been driving for a while, just to let you know, temperature gauge running as a third, which is exactly where it's meant to be on a Honda car, by the way. All the functions, cruise, auto lights, auto wipers, everything working exactly as they should as well, by the way. Because as I said at the start of it, the point of the video is just to show the car in operation, and feedback on any issues, of which there are genuinely nothing at all. It drives absolutely beautifully. If you've got any questions about the vehicle, as always, please don't hesitate, do give us a call.